Hey everybody, welcome. This is actually part 2 of this tutorial series where I show you how to make this Lottie Animation hamburger for your website. Now this is for mobile navigation. This is what it looks like once it's going to be completed in your website. Now, if you don't need to do the part 1, which just covers how to make the Illustrator, if you're good with Illustrator and you know how to do all that, then skip the first one, come straight to the After Effects tutorial part, and enjoy. This is a program. If you don't have BodyMovin installed, new window. Okay, one of the extensions that you'll need is BodyMovin. BodyMovin download. Okay, so you go to BodyMovin and you download this. It looks like Exchange, Adobe.com. It's free. You get it. And if it doesn't work, you can download and install it another way. And you do that. That's because it didn't work for me. Download and install it another way, and you will. I had to use this extension. You can just type this in, Anastasi's extension manager, and then you can drag and drop it in there, and it'll install it for you, so you don't have to do it if it doesn't work. So let's continue with known issues. My computer is out of date. It is too old. The video card is too old to run this. These are programs, but I run them anyway. So we're gonna file and save our project as hamburger. Here we go. So now we can import our file. And now this is important. Retain layer size and import. Okay, as a composition. So now we've got our each layer. You can't see them because it's black on black. And this guy. So we open this guy up. There it is. That's our buddy right there. There it is. And that is kind of small. So what I'm going to do is, so here's the thing. I want it to work at 100%. I need this to be a little bit bigger, and I could have made this a little bit bigger in vector. It's fine. It's all vector still, even though it's pixelized. It's still vector. There's vector retention in there. So first thing we need to do is select all 3 of these layers. Actually, the first thing I really do is I need to duplicate the composition. So I'm gonna rename this, and it's gonna be main. Okay, and this is just a duplicate composition. I'm gonna open this up. I'm gonna close my hamburger background, copy that I made, or the original, and then I'm going to right click on all these guys, and then you'll see this create button right here. Create shapes from vector layer. Let's go. So now we can delete all the Adobe ones, and what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna do this animation first. And so the animation is, you have this lower line, the lower line of the hamburger, you have the lower line, and then this lower line swoops in to this middle line. Okay, so to do that, all you have to do is go into your group. Well, first of all, again, I'm working too small here. So how do I fix this? What I can do is I can go to composition settings. Instead of 171, I can do 500. That's a little bit better. Composition settings, we'll try 700. And I think 700 is the key. I think that's what we're going to use. 700 looks good. And so I'm going to click on all of these guys, and so grab one of these corners and use this, hold this edge, and I'm going to just grow it all. Okay, so I'm just going to click and drag and grow it all. Now, this is not aligned anymore, so we need to make sure that it is aligned with our, yeah, that looks about right. Okay, so yeah, okay, so we grew it, we made it bigger. We could have done that in Adobe Illustrator, should have done it there. It's my fault. I didn't do it right. So, okay, now we're all good. So, it's just a little bit cleaner. I don't have to zoom into 200%. It's not pixelized. It would have worked either way, just so you guys can see it. So, now the first step is we go to the contents of this layer. You'll see it's got a group. We'll open that, twirl that down. We got path, stroke. Okay, and in this right here, in the stroke, well, actually, in the contents, actually, we're going to add this add button. Okay, and we're going to add a trim paths. Haha, trim paths. This is what we're adding. I found it. All right, lots of different things in here. It's very hard to remember which is which. Okay, so now in our timeline, this is, how long is this timeline? This timeline is mucho long, very long. It's like a whole 2 seconds. So our timeline is like, it's like 2 seconds and 21 frames. Okay. Let's do that. Let's do trim path. It's fine. That's a fine time length. We'll actually go in here, composition settings, and just change this to 3 seconds for now, just to make things clean. Okay. So we have our trim paths here, and I'm going to time mark it. You click this stopwatch deal, and then you'll have a keyframe now. And then I'm going to keyframe it again at a second. Okay. And what we're doing is this first one, obviously we don't want it to have this loop just yet. So we're going to go to the start. I just found that out by trial and error. And right before it starts to like go around this edge here, right before I see before it's growing, I'm going to just leave it right there like that. Okay, so now we've got our lower bar, and then as it goes to this next one, it's going to there. So within 1 second, it grows. Okay, perfect. Now we want the end to also, and so we want to select this. So be careful, because you actually have to select the keyframe that you want to adjust. It's something that I found out. So we're going to do the exact same thing, but reverse right before it starts to make that bend. We're going to set it there. All right, I think that's the frame. That's where I want it to be. Okay. And it actually makes sense. So you could have just said this is 64. You can do the math in your head. 64. The opposite of 64 would be 36. And that's exactly what we did on this end. It's 36. So math helps a lot in After Effects if you know math to get it perfect. But there we are. So now it like kind of does this thing where it just says blip. But that's not as, that movement is just too, it's just too stiff. Like it's just too linear. And so what I want to do is select everything, hit F9 for, hit F9, that's the key, or you can do keyframe assistant, easy ease. So that's the shortcut. F9 is easy ease. Okay, so now that you've got everything, you select it all, you hit this little button up here, the graph editor, and this is where kind of things get messy. And I'm gonna hold shift because like, you know, you can do this, but if you hold shift, it locks it into place. I'm gonna hold shift and just pull it back and see what that does. That's much better. And that's exactly what we're going to use. That was it. We're done. Looks clean. Beautiful. Whoosh. Love it. Okay. So now we're going to duplicate this layer. Okay. So this is, we're going to rename this bottom whoosh. and we're gonna duplicate this layer. Control D for me on the PC, and then all we have to do is rotate this sucker. So we're going to transform, rotation, and I'm going to rotate it 90. No, 180. Sorry, math. 180. Okay, so now we get whoosh. I love it. Whoosh. Okay, but that's obviously not in the right spot. So we're going to need to move it, and I'm going to put up this as a guide. So we're going to need to move this right there, just like that. Let's see. Is that? So it's just a little bit bigger than the other one. So that's what I was. Okay. And turn that off, and they should both whoosh. There it is. There it is. Hey guys, and sorry to interrupt, but once again we have gotten pretty long in the film so far, the tutorial series, so I'm going to cut it again. And just, you know, the deal. The next video is ready to go. You just find it if you're watching it on the playlist or whatever. Yeah, I don't want these videos to get too long, and it was getting long. So with that, please, again, like and subscribe, comment, do all the things, like the video. You know, it's just so helpful. It's so helpful. It's free. There's no reason not to, especially if you're getting a lot of value out of this. And again, I'm selling the Lottie for like $5, and yeah, suggest the next thing that you want to see me do, because I'm doing those things. I do read the comments, so please be nice. Thank you. Okay. And so now that we've got those, we're actually going to delete this middle. So we go to our hamburger, our real hamburger. Okay. Because if we leave this layer on, then these two on the top and bottom stay. And we actually don't need that. So we were using it as a guide up until now. Now that we've got everything set, we're going to go ahead and quickly save this, save our progress. Command or Control S to save, or File, Save. And there we go. So that's that. We're going to delete that. And the way you delete those individual ones are you go to this, and we'll deselect everything else for now as far as viewability. And something happens. And I don't know what this is, but each group should represent one of these lines. However, we have twice as many groups as we should. So when I deselect this and then I deselect that, it's two separate groups. And I'm not exactly sure why that is. So if I do that and I see how the visibility of these makes no difference, I just get rid of it. Just completely delete it. Okay. Delete it. I don't know why that happens. That's not usually a thing. If anybody knows, let me know in the comments below. I'd be happy to understand more about After Effects. It's a very complicated beast. And but yes, so because we don't need these two layers either, because we don't need the top and bottoms, we'll delete those too. We really just need this one line. That's it. So now that we've got our bottom whoosh, and then I'm renaming this one to top whoosh. Okay. And I'll capitalize whoosh. All right. So now we've got that. Now we've got our first bit of animation done. So there it is. And at this frame, at 1 second, we no longer need the center. Well, here we go. So this is the, we're going to name this to middle line. Okay. And here are our X's. Okay. So our X's actually don't have to start animation until here. So I'm going to just click and drag and move that to this frame so that before then they don't appear. Now, obviously they can't just bloop appear. But this is where they need to end up. So we're going to go to second 2 seconds in, and I'm going to go into the contents and see how 2 lines, 2 groups makes sense. You got, 2 groups would make sense. Okay, so we're going to do this one first. Okay, and what we need to do is transform group 2. So you got 2 transforms in here. So if you open up this layer, you've got layer transforms, and then you've got, I'm sorry about my dog, my girlfriend's dog. It's so annoying. And you've got, I'm actually going to bring him in here. Well, I won't. I'm just, I'm tired of the dog. All right. So what we're going to do is group 2. So group transform specifically group 2 and then rotate. Okay, so we need a rotate. Rotations here. We're going to click on it, put a keyframe here, put a keyframe at 2 seconds. Okay, that is bada bing, bada boom, 2 seconds. There we go. And then, so what needs to happen is that, so right now it just kind of appears, and instead this one, we're going to select this one, and we're going to adjust it to, and that's 45 degrees exactly, so we're just going to do 45. Boom. And so now it'll rotate at 45 degrees. Clearly that's very not fun. That's not very fun at all, actually. So, but that's okay. we'll do some playing around with that animation, but we need to do the same thing with the second layer. Okay, so rotation, we're going to go to this frame. Okay, rotation, click a new frame. And this is the opposite direction. So instead of 45, we're going to do negative. Okay. Tell them you're sorry. Tell them you're sorry. Tell them you're sorry. Okay. So, 45. So now we have and you know what I want to do? Actually, now that I'm looking at this, it's just not a lot of movement. It's 45 degrees of movement. What I would really like to see is it to extend the 45 and do not 90. 90 would be perpendicular, but what's 45 plus 90? Calculator. 45 plus 90 equals 135. So let's do 135 of movement. So that way it literally overextends. Okay. So we're going to select this. $135. Oh, that's not right. Oh, okay. So I changed this one to 90. Look at that. So now it's going to like do like a whole flip. So we're doing something different for this tutorial. Not the exact same thing that I said, because I think it'd be cool if this did a flip. Okay. Because we're going to do a flip now. And I'm going to make this one do a flip as well. So we're going to go back to, if we're doing groups, we're going to close this one. Look at this one. And transform group 2. And so just like this one, where it's negative 45, I'm going to add 90 on this one, a rotation of 90. And maybe it was negative 90. It was negative 90. Okay, so with both of them visible, what should happen is they should go whoosh. Now, obviously, we don't need that centerpiece there any longer. So on this frame, if we go look at our layers specifically, every other so the X, so we're meaning this X. Okay, so all of these layers need to disappear on this frame. So we're going to have whoosh, X, boosh. I like it. I like it a lot. So really what I want it to, so the whoosh is fine. We'll play around with the speed later, but I think I do want that to go a little faster because I think a 2-second animation is too long, but we're just getting our bearings right now. So there's our X. We're going to have it rotate around, and let's see. What I can do is I can open up both groups, or actually what I can do is I can take these two and hit U, and now I have just the rotation parts. So I'm going to hit F9 for easy ease, and then let's take a look at this. So here's what we're working with. All right, and now I do want them to bounce. So and I really need to just copy that movement on this side. Okay, so whoosh. Let's take a look at that from a bigger. So yeah, in order for this to be bouncy, I think the squish is too squishy. Okay, I think the reverb bounce is too reverby. That's a lot better. And really, I want it to really ease into that. And I don't know why this didn't. So I'm looking at this X, by the way, to kind of find my center mark. It's not perfect, but I can also look across here and be like, well, what's the disparity between this point, this little crosshair, and this line? And I can see, okay, it's like a little sliver, a few pixels, blah, 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 and I can. All right. Now, for the one that I did before, I did purposefully have it off-centered and kind of a little thing. But for this one, I think I'm going to have it more symmetrical. Okay. Now, that is it. We are done. That's all we actually need to do. If you are interested in continuing the loop for another reason, I'll do that. I'll just go ahead and do it that way. So now that we have, because it's kind of complicated and it's not the most intuitive process ever. So that's our animation. And now what we need to do is take this animation and reverse it. So right at, what was it, 2 seconds? There we are, 2 seconds. Okay, 2 seconds. And now we need to reverse all of this, all of it. We need to reverse every little bit of it. So I'm gonna duplicate this composition, and I'm gonna rename this loop. Okay. And the reason why I'm gonna rename this loop is because composition settings, it needs to be 4 seconds exactly. And do we like, so right, so we don't like how long this is. So I actually want this to be like, you know, 15 frames instead. So we're going to go into here before we duplicate this, and we're going to shorten this up a little bit. So top whoosh, bottom whoosh, U to get all of them, and we're really just going to take this and move all of our effects and move all of this down to 15, and then move this guy down just like that. All right, so now we've got our little animation. Pow. Yeah. Am I a fan? Now, I think if this was two-tone, let's do that. Let's make this two-tone. Let's go ahead and do that. Let's apply some colors here, because I think it would be better if people could see the difference. Because right now it's all black and you kind of really can't tell what's going on. So we are going to bottom whoosh. Let's see. I want this group, stroke, color. Let's go with blue. Right, so I'm going to go with like this faded pastel blue in here. Okay, and then for this guy, I'm going to go with a much darker blue. Path, stroke. No. No. No, you don't rip up the carpet, dude. No. No. Don't do that. So now that we've applied colors to all these, I'm actually going to keep this top whoosh above the middle line. And then this guy, So all right, so to reverse all of this, it looks great. What we're going to need to do is duplicate everything. So just command copy, just duplicate it all. Now, obviously, this goes right after this one, because if everything's going in reverse, this would go back here. Okay, and then now our sequence is exactly 3 seconds long, so we go to loop, composition, and change it from 4 to 3. Okay, and this, what we need to do is hit U, and we can get all of the keyframes. Right click, keyframe assistant, time reverse keyframes. Go over here, U, my God. Time reverse keyframes. Time reverse keyframes. And there it is. Now you can obviously change the two tones to whatever color you'd like. I'm gonna put a white background on this bad boy. New solid white solid. But there you go. There's your Lottie animation. That is how that is done. And so to export this, all you gotta do is we're gonna save it one last time, and animation, nope, window extensions. So this is where your BodyMovin extension comes into play. I told you can use this program in order to get it downloaded. Oh, I just realized that my I forgot to check, make sure that y'all could see that. But anyways, what you're looking for, we'll close this out. So what you're going to do is right click, keyframe assistant, time reverse keyframes. Okay, that is what you're doing. I forgot that my camera was blocking your vision. So window extensions, BodyMovin, and click on loop. Selected it. Go ahead and go in here and just make sure all your settings are correct. What you're looking for as far as settings, there's no hidden layers that need to be exported. There's no guides that need to be exported. No extra comps. No assets that need to be rasterized. We don't need to split the Lottie files in anything. Don't need to do a demo. Sometimes, so anyways, save. Now, if this is the first time that you're trying to render this out, so where you're gonna, it's where this is gonna be saved. Visual Finesse, YouTube, Illustrator, hamburger tut, hamburger. Let's go. So if this is the first time you're rendering it, it won't just render. What you'll have to do is you'll have to go into your settings, project settings. No, not project settings, just your preferences, general. And it's actually not general, but I just did that to scripting and expressions here at the bottom, and then allow scripts to write files and access network. So if you don't do this, then it won't render, and you'll get a pop-up telling you to do this. But if you don't know where that is, it's right there. So now that it's rendered, now you can we'll clap that up. It's been rendered. You're good to go. What I like to do is I like to render this composition, this loop composition, and actually, now that I think about it, I'm going to duplicate this one more time, loop, and I'm going to have GIF, rename loop GIF, not GIF. If it was, GIF stands for graphical interface format, interchange or interface, something. But it's graphical. That's what it stands for. So when graphics are pronounced GIFX, then I will say GIF. But graphics are not pronounced GIFX, they're pronounced graphics. So it's GIF. All right, now that rant is over, let's do, we will, settings, and I will actually increase this to 4 seconds. And so this one will have some extra time. Maybe not 4 seconds. Maybe just this little bit. Maybe 3:15. 3:15. There we go. And that just gives it a little bit of time so people can see the hamburger layout. Okay. And, now that I'm looking at these colors, I'm really thinking that this middle line should be a different color. And now I'm just getting picky, but it should really be that color. Contents group, the stroke. Now hold on. Now that I've got this selected, I can go back here and select this color. There we go. So now it's the same. Okay. So that's fine. That's good enough for me. Yeah, it's fine. It's not even the color palette that I would necessarily choose, but I mean, I did choose it, but I probably should have had a color palette scheme going on in Illustrator and not After Effects. So I would prefer to have that done in Illustrator because Illustrator is much better for picking colors and things of that nature. So that's going to be it for this. Yeah, to export a GIF, what you do is go to select your composition, add to media encoder, and you'll go here, and it should have just propagated. Oh, there it goes. So, and then I've already got animated GIF selected, but it's probably set on something else. So just select animated GIF, and then know where you're gonna save it to. Hamburger tut. It's great. Now Adobe Media Encoder is like its own file that it generates automatically. So if you're like, I don't see the file, look in the Adobe Media Encoder file, and then that's where it'll be, because it makes its own folder. So like I said, speed test hamburger, and you're like, oh, I don't see it anywhere. Oh, it's because it's not in there. It's in YouTube. Adobe Illustrator. Tut. Hen tut. AME. Boom. Here's our GIF. And there it is. So, next episode, it won't be an hour long, but you'll be able to apply this to Webflow. We'll show you how to get that integrated. Also, subscribe. It helps me out a lot if you subscribe. If you want to purchase this and don't want to do the hour-long thing, you can purchase this for $5. Each one is $5. I mean, it helps me out. You know, if your time is worth more than $5 an hour, I think it's a good deal. Because even if you know what you're doing, if this is exactly what you want, just there you go. But oh yeah. So, but yeah, share it, you know, follow, whatever, request something if you want something done. Be like, hey, can you do this? And I'll see if I got time, I'll do it. So, yeah. Peace out.